Okay, so this video I was gonna do last week, but I was too emotional to do this video. So I'm gonna do it now. Okay, as people know, we moved into this trailer about a year and a half ago. And before we moved here, we had shitty neighbors everywhere we lived. Our first apartment together as husband and wife, the cops were in and out doing drug busts. Like, it was just terrible. And then we moved into a studio apartment, and if you don't know what that is, it is a little apartment. Sometimes it's attached to the landlord's house, and sometimes it's not. And right after my hysterectomy, the sink in our apartment wouldn't drain, so the landlord had to come and fix it. And after he fixed it, I got a text asking if I could come over to the house. Um, so I walked, and it's literally right there. I'm attached to it. So I walked um, over there, and then they handed me a letter saying that my house wasn't clean. I had laundry sitting on my bed. Now, given this was a week after my hysterectomy, so I was still in a lot of pain. So I didn't understand why they were angry that the laundry was on my bed, because I was still not okayed by my doctor to do anything, because all I needed to do was not overdo it, because my pain would get worse. So after that, we decided to move because we just thought that was so rude. And the fact that he was cussing and stuff like that in front of my children, we had my stepdaughters and my son there, and I just didn't find that okay at all. So we moved, and the apartment we moved in after that, on both sides of us, was young people. They had kids, but they still liked to party all the time. There was vehicles coming in and out, in and out. And my husband worked night shift. He didn't get off work till 3:30 in the morning, and so he had to sleep in, and they were constantly partying. So it was hard for him to sleep in. It was also hard for me to get Christian to bed at night, and also hard for me to sleep because of the partying. They were doing drugs, and I told the landlord 1,000 times about this, and nothing was ever done. Um, so that pissed me off more than anything. So, because the girls were staying with us and all of that good stuff, we decided to move into a bigger apartment, same apartment complex, but a bigger apartment. So we were moving to a different area. Now, we thought, okay, we're gonna move to this area and it's gonna be a lot better. We were wrong. Um, the people beside us, the woman beside us, every time she would come in, she would speed, like literally going 45 miles an hour up the road, up the driveway, and I was always worried that she was going to accidentally hit one of my children or hit the children that lived beside us, and it worried me. And then a few apartments down, once again, there was drugs, and this time it wasn't also that they were doing drugs, they were selling drugs. So there was vehicles coming in and out, in and out, and we decided that we needed to move because we didn't want our children around that. So when this trailer was available, we automatically took up on the offer. It was $350 for the deposit, and then first month's rent. So we paid $700. And then when we moved, we found out that the apartment complex was actually under surveillance by the cops. They had been watching that apartment complex for a few months now. So when we moved in here, we automatically clicked with the neighbors across from us. It was a woman. Her name was Angie. Her husband Albino. His middle name, his first name is Sanchez, but he goes by Albino. He went by Albino. And then their two daughters, Marissa and Alyssa. Marissa is 15, Alyssa is 13, and them and Christian automatically hit it off, and they loved to play together. Um, they were great neighbors. There was a day where we were gonna go to town to get groceries, and the car would not start. The battery was dead. So I walked over to their trailer, which isn't a very short walk. They have a really long driveway. And so I walked over there and asked her if she wouldn't mind coming over and letting us jump the car off so we could go to town to get groceries. She came over. We jumped the car off. We told her thank you. A few days later, we were all hanging out. We were trying to find their dog. They have huskies, and one of them came up missing, and we were pretty sure that it got stolen. Her name was Storm, so we were looking for the dog. When we noticed that there was a snake in our yard, and our kittens kept trying to go over there to see what it was. Now, I'm terrified of snakes. Angie's terrified of snakes. Marissa and Alyssa and Kristen are terrified of snakes. And we were worried that it was going to bite one of the kids or even us. So her husband is not scared of snakes, so we just called him, and he came over with the BB gun and killed it for us. And then not long after that, I had went to town, and I noticed that the brakes were acting funny. Like, I would have to push the pedal completely down to stop. And I was at Walmart, and I was getting ready to leave. And when I went to pull out of the parking lot, when I went to push on my brakes, it wouldn't stop. So I automatically threw it into park and pulled up the emergency brake. I called my husband and told him, and he's like, well, call Angie and see if they can come and get you. That's the only people we knew around here and all of that. So I called her, and I was like, the brakes on my car is not working. The car won't stop. Can you and Albino come get me from Walmart? And she's like, yeah, I'll be there shortly. Albino works on vehicles, so when he got there, he checked, and the brake fluid was low. So he put brake fluid in it, and then he got in it to see if it would stop, and it would. It stopped fine. I was still scared to drive it back because of the wreck that I was in last December. No, my bad, last November. So he was nice enough to drive our car back for me, and I rode with Angie. At Christian's birthday, Marissa and them came over. Angie didn't because she was sick. She had the flu, and she didn't want to get Christian sick. So the girls came over. We were all hanging out. and all of that. And Christian kept getting in the car, and I kept telling him to get out because I was scared that he was going to leave one of the doors cracked and the battery would go dead, and he done that exactly. When Nick got up the next morning to go to work, the car wouldn't crank. When I got up at 9 o'clock, I called Angie and asked her if either her or Albino would come and jump the car off so Nick could go to work. And she's like, yeah, Albino will be right there. Um, so he came and jumped the car off. And my husband had called his work to tell them that he was going to be running late. He called them at 4:30 that morning. And when he called and told them that he was going to come in, they told him that they were letting people leave at 11 o'clock, so he didn't have to come in for work. Monday, it was Memorial Day, so there was no school, and I had texted Angie and them to see if the girls wanted to come over and play, and I got no answer. I just figured they were busy or doing something together as a family. Tuesday, when we went, when I went outside to get Christian on the bus, Marissa and Alyssa were not at the bus stop. I didn't really think nothing of it because Angie did have the flu, and I thought, well, they probably just got the flu and they're sick. That same day, my husband had sent me an article. He sent it to me because the article had our road on it, and it said the Cobb County man died in freak accident on County Road 112. I didn't read the article because I just didn't think it would have been somebody that we knew, and I assumed it was on the other County Road 112 because there's two. There's ours, and then when you come to a stop sign, there's another one across from it. And so I didn't read the article. The girls didn't go to school at all that week. And of course, again, I didn't think nothing of it. Saturday night, Saturday, I texted Aunt Angie and just said, are the girls okay? I noticed that they wasn't at the bus stop this week. It took a little bit for her to write back, and she said that they were going through a lot, and that it was a hard time. Again, my mind didn't go to anything bad because they struggled just like us with one income. And then she sent a text and she said, I'm gonna tell you this. Albino died Monday. He was working on his truck and the jack fell and the truck landed on him and it killed him instantly. Her and the oldest daughter had came outside to check to see how it was going when they found him under the truck. They pulled him out and he was unresponsive. They kept trying to wake him up or trying to get him to talk. get back. They pronounced it to see. That's when I realized that the man in the title of the article was King. And I felt so bad because I didn't read the article, so I wasn't there for her when she was going through it. I felt like a terrible for not knowing. And the next day, I automatically went over to see her and to check on her, and she was good. And she just gave me a hug and cried. We both cried. She 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 told me she was glad to have me and that she loved me. She was glad to have me as her best friend and family. We looked at each other like family because that's how close we had got. So I told her that I was so sorry that I didn't know, and that I wasn't there. And she said, "Don't be sorry. Um, it's not your fault that you didn't know." And she asked me if I knew about this article, and I said, "Yeah." I said, "But I couldn't bring myself to read it. Even when I thought about reading it, I couldn't read it. I couldn't bring myself to read the article. I would click on it and then automatically exit back out, and I'm guessing that's why I couldn't read it. It was because my mind was knew that it was albino and knew that I was um, that I would automatically turn to being emotional and upset, and I guess my mind didn't want me to do that because um, let's not forget my mother-in-law passed away 6 months ago. So another loss um, was not real family, but family would have been hard. I was still shocked by finding out. I couldn't believe it, and I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want him to be dead. I didn't want him to be gone. He was so nice. He was such a sweet guy, and he was taken so sudden, um, so sudden to the point that the girls didn't get to say goodbye to their dad. She didn't get to say goodbye to her husband. They had been together for 16 years. She lost the love of her life, her soulmate, and she didn't get to say goodbye. I mean, she told him goodbye, but she didn't get to say goodbye, um, with him able to say it back. Her daughter um, and his daughters had pretty much just give up on life when he died. Like Alyssa had her hair done for the funeral uh, Wednesday of that week, and she hadn't brushed her hair since. So I was like, let me fix your hair, and she agreed. So I brushed her hair, and she hadn't cleaned her room. It was messy, so I helped her clean the room, and then we went and got Christian off of the bus, and they played, and they she finally was happy and smiling, and Marissa and me were hanging out, and I was showing her funny videos on YouTube, and she was finally happy and smiling, and that made Angie so happy, and she was so happy for me to be there and help. And I was so happy I could help. And every time she cried, I would walk over there to her and give her a hug and just hold her and remind her that she was strong, that God is there. God will help you through it. God is with you even through the hardest times. And just lean on Him. Lean on your daughter. Let them know that you're strong. You're a strong mother. Um, you've got to be there for them. And if you need anything, I am right here. I am just right across from you. And I will be there in a heartbeat as fast as I could. And she knew that. And she still knows that. Um, I go over there pretty much every day to check on them, to just hang out. Um, but I'm making this video because we need prayers for them, and as they're dealing with the loss of their dad, of their husband, because it's gonna be hard on them to get over this. And I know this for a fact because I've lost my mom at 19, and then I lost um, my second mom 6 months ago, and I'm still not over her death. Um, so I know how it feels, and I know the pain that they're going through. Um, so I know that they just need prayers that they can get through this. Um, that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. So that's why I'm making this video. I need people to keep Angie, Alyssa, and Marissa in your prayers, and also Albino's family, because they need it during this time. So just keep them in your prayers, and thank you so much. Bye, everybody.